Fully automatic fire from an elevated position. Take cover. We need to stop the shooter before we have more victims.
Get down, get down.
My brother did this. It makes no sense.
It was an act of pure evil.
First at 10 tonight, we're following breaking news out of Las Vegas. Right now, police are trying to piece together a shooting massacre on the Strip.
Here's what we know right now. At least 59 people are dead, more than 500 others hurt. Police say the man responsible for the shooting is 64-year-old Stephen Paddock of Mesquite. He lives there in Nevada, about 80 miles away. He had no criminal history. Investigators say he shot himself before those SWAT teams stormed his hotel room. And once inside, they found at least 17 guns. As for a motive, the sheriff said at this point he cannot get into the mind of a psychopath. Caroline Shively from Las Vegas breaks down the latest in this investigation.
We're learning more tonight about the gunman behind the worst mass shooting in modern U.S. history. Chaos as shots ring out at a country music concert on the Las Vegas Strip, sending thousands running for their lives.
Everyone said hit the floor, so everyone was just like literally laying on top of each other trying to get out of the way, and the shots just kept coming.
Las Vegas police say Stephen Paddock went on a shooting spree from the 32nd floor of the Mandalay Bay Hotel and Casino, then killed himself in his hotel room. The 64-year-old was not on law enforcement radar, and authorities believe he acted alone.
We have determined to this point no connection with an international terrorist group.
His brother says Stephen Paddock was a wealthy real estate investor who liked to gamble, but never showed signs he could be violent.
I have no idea that he would have that many firearms.
The suspect had at least 17 guns in his hotel room and more at his home at a Nevada retirement community.
From the house in Mesquite, we retrieved in excess of 18 additional firearms, some explosives, and several thousand rounds of ammo.
It was an act of pure evil.
President Trump will be visiting Las Vegas on Wednesday to meet with first responders and the families of victims. In Las Vegas, Caroline Shively, Fox News.
And the shooter's brother spoke with the media outside his home in Florida. He says he has absolutely no clue why this happened.
I mean, how do you... I mean, my brother did this. This is like it was done, you know, like he shot up.
Eric Paddock there told reporters as far as he knows, his brother had no religious or political affiliation and no history of mental illness. And this morning he said, find out where he got the machine guns, saying they were not there when he helped him move. The last time they spoke was after Hurricane Irma hit. He says his brother called to check up on him and their 90-year-old mother.
President Trump is ordering all flags be flown at half-staff until Friday. You're looking at video from the White House earlier today. The president gave his condolences to the families and spoke about the massacre.
Hundreds of our fellow citizens are now mourning the sudden loss of a loved one, a parent, a child, a brother or sister. We cannot fathom their pain. We cannot imagine their loss. To the families of the victims, we are praying for you, and we are here for you.
The president plans to visit Las Vegas on Wednesday. Senator Chris Murphy, a Democrat from Connecticut, issued a statement calling for stronger gun control laws. He said, quote, nowhere but America do horrific, large-scale mass shootings happen with this degree of regularity. This must stop. This is positively infuriating that my colleagues in Congress are so afraid of the gun industry that they pretend there aren't public policy responses to this epidemic. End quote. Las Vegas police have said it will take some time to identify all of the victims. They've set up hotlines and centers to help people track down relatives.
A Pennsylvania woman did escape the concert but has not been able to find her husband. Fox 56's Jamie Innes has the latest on their search for the Shippensburg coach. Jamie.
Ryan, tonight the community came together for a prayer vigil at the Little League fields. This is video provided through our Banjo app. Right now they're actually praying for Bill Wolf, a local coach who's still unaccounted for. The wrestling team posted that Wolf was among the victims and asks for everyone to join in praying for all of the victims' families. So here's what we know. Wolf and his wife were at the concert. His wife, Robin, made it out, and is doing okay, but nobody has heard from Wolf himself. According to Penn Live, Wolf's brother is on his way to Vegas, and they haven't heard anything as to whether Bill is part of those 59 or not. And another Pennsylvania man is sharing his story about the massacre. According to our partners at the Times Leader, Mark Soprano was at Bally's Casino when the shooting started and quickly made his way to his room at the Paris Hotel, but on his way, he says it was chaotic. People were running in every direction, screaming. He even saw people climbing into a dumpster for cover. And he had said that he and a friend had talked about going to the concert that night, but it looks like that ended up to be a very good decision for them.
It's so interesting to see we're 2,400 miles away from Las Vegas, but to see that there's still local connections like this.
Absolutely. And now we've put a lot more information and the phone number for finding lost ones on fox56.com.
All right, Jamie, thank you.
It's a very hard thing. Who would ever thought when we were in Vietnam that things like this would happen in our own homeland?
Just like those reverberating across the country tonight, as the nation mourns, many in our area sending prayers to start that healing process. New at 10 tonight, our Brian Sheehan spent the evening with people in Northumberland County. Brian, how are they showing their heartbreak for the victims?
Well, Dane, nearly 50 members of the Revival Tabernacle Church came out tonight to remember those killed or injured in the massacre in Las Vegas the best way they know how, through prayer. Nearly 2,500 miles away, tonight members of this Northumberland County community gathered to remember the 59 souls killed and more than 500 injured in Las Vegas overnight.
Just unbelievable tragedy. Man's inhumanity to man is really scary.
It's the deadliest mass shooting in modern U.S. history. In August, Revival Tabernacle filled 2 trailers full of food, clothing, and other supplies to take to those impacted by Hurricane Harvey. But this time, it's different. The victims and their families don't need material items.
I think what people need now is just a hand to hold, a heart to hold.
Raymond Smith served in Vietnam. The magnitude of life lost is hard for he and his fellow congregates to digest.
It's so hard that it would happen here in our own backyard, at the magnitude of so many lives taken and so many that are injured and in the hospital now and don't know if they're gonna live.
While many here say they don't understand why this happened, they want the victims and their families to know people across the country are here for them.
And it's in those times people need to know that there are others who care about them, who are going through this with them. And that is our hope, that people understand that they are not alone.
Now, many church members plan to gather here at 7, both tomorrow morning and evening, to pray again for all those affected by what's now the deadliest mass shooting in modern U.S. history. Reporting live tonight in Watsontown, Northumberland County, Brian Sheehan, Fox 56 News, first at 10.
All right, Brian, thank you. More to come on the massacre in Las Vegas throughout the newscast tonight. In about 15 minutes, we dig deeper into local hospitals and how they would deal with mass casualties. From concerts, sporting events, rallies, and protests, we take a look at how hospitals prepare for the worst. And as always, get up-to-the-minute developments on our Fox 56 News app.
We have an update tonight on the homicide that we told you about Sunday in Susquehanna County. A woman is now under arrest. 31-year-old Cassie Mercencavage is charged with shooting and killing 49-year-old Robert Huball. Police found his body in his Thompson home yesterday. His truck was missing and later found in Moosic. Police say Mercencavage had been living with the victim, but their relationship recently ended. She is back in court on Friday.
Happening tomorrow, students in Dallas schools will head back to class. Classes are set to resume in the morning. The district notified parents after union leaders submitted a revised health care proposal.
We wanted to give them ample time to look at the information, review it, and get back to us with it. And we'll set up some bargaining dates and see if it results in an agreement.
You can't look at any one aspect of this process in a vacuum. You can't just say we're saving this much money in health care, now give us 3 times that in raises.
Teachers say they'll strike again November 22nd if both sides don't reach an agreement.
A funeral director from the Poconos facing more charges tonight. 27-year-old Angelia Stewart is accused of taking pictures of bodies that were being prepared for burial. She now faces tampering with physical evidence charges for what police say were deleting some of those photos. Stewart was originally charged with abuse of a corpse and harassment. This investigation started back in August. Police say Stewart posed with at least 16 dead people and even took selfies with them in the background. Some in caskets, others were naked on the embalming table. Stewart was the funeral director at Lanterman and Allen Funeral Home.
Still to come tonight, a new pilot program at a hospital in Wilkes-Barre. Why some people think using old school methods is the way to go.
And it was yet another beautiful day here in northeastern Pennsylvania, and it looks like Mother Nature is going to keep things calm and quiet for now. Coming up, I'll show you when the pattern flips. That's coming up.
Health First is sponsored by Commonwealth Health.
For all the technological advances in medicine, there are some who believe that revisiting the simple idea of house calls might have real benefits for patients.
Fox 56's Jane Adonisio takes a look at the pilot program for the changing needs of healthcare in tonight's edition of Health First.
Julian Watrous is a paramedic with Commonwealth Health Emergency Medical Services. On this day, he's not answering a 911 call. Rather, he's headed to check out a pilot program that brings health care right to a patient's home.
For years, EMS has provided a one-size-fits-all approach to problems. You call 911, we show up at your house, and our only answer has been to take you to the ER.
That's where Chuck Atwell comes in. He's one of 4 paramedics assigned to a gated community in Pike County. He responds to various medical calls, and while some are medical emergencies, not all have to be handled in a hospital.
We'll come into the home and we'll do an intake on them and just go through everything that is pertinent, all their medical history, all their medications, any records that they have.
Paul Roth signed up for the home visits through the pilot program that started late last year. And while he didn't have any symptoms, Chuck did an assessment and discovered an irregular heartbeat, which led to an EKG and treatment by a cardiologist.
To find out after he put the monitor on me that I had a problem that didn't show up normally before with anybody, that he called a doctor for me.
Paul and his wife are grateful for the home visits, which alleviate the need for driving and waiting to be seen in doctor's offices.
I think it was a great idea, and it's the best thing we ever did.
Jane Adonisio, Health First.
And based on the success of that pilot program in the community, Commonwealth Health is looking to expand to other areas and services. Still ahead tonight, following what happened in Las Vegas, many people wonder how they can stay safe in public, especially at large outside events. What police are saying about securing what's known as soft targets.
But first, Governor Wolf ordering all flags in the Commonwealth at half-staff today. This after the mass shooting in Las Vegas. More than 50 people were killed and more than 500 are hurt.
Now, your Weather Authority forecast with Chief Meteorologist Mike Linden.
October 2nd, it has been quite an end to the month of September and quite an interesting start to the beginning of this month. September ended a little bit warmer than normally despite that incredibly cool start. But October has been starting off fantastically. We look at our live radar right now. The skies are clear. It has been incredibly pleasant all day today. A look at our high temperatures across the region, and most spots got back into that mid to low 70s range today, which does represent a warmer than normal day. For this time of year, we should be right around the mid 60s. So 74 degrees, that's quite a nice little bump up, especially so when you look at the overnight lows. May even see a few spots slip into the upper 30s tonight, and that means we may see some patchy frost developing. It's wild that that is what we are already talking about this year. But it is important to remember that even through the evening hours and even through the daytime hours as well, we're seeing temperatures a little bit warmer than where we not only were yesterday, but again, where we should be normally this time of year. So even a 6-degree difference in Scranton, Wilkes-Barre, or a 9-degree difference in southern Luzerne County and Hazleton, that is certainly a big step up for this time of year. Now, we are going to continue to stay wonderful, not only through Tuesday, but likely through Wednesday as well. But it's as we get into the second half of Wednesday and into Thursday where we see the pattern completely flip from the sunny and dry to the cloudy and wet. This is a big old cold front right now over the Midwest, cutting through Minneapolis, Nebraska, and into Colorado that is going to continue to chug its way east. But it is going to take several days to get to us in Pennsylvania up until about Thursday or so. In fact, you'll see the drop off here as far as temperatures go. Notice when the clouds arrive and that front gets here too, from the mid 70s falling back into the low 70s and upper 60s to close out the work week. So for tomorrow and Wednesday as well, the weather's going to continue to not only be incredible to get outside in, but just incredible for this time of year. Because by lunchtime for the bus stop tomorrow, 65 degrees, we should be done with that. But not the case tomorrow. We will likely once again get back into the lower 70s for daytime highs and so much sunshine throughout as well. These are those warmer than normal days you've just got to take advantage of, because tomorrow, Wednesday, and even through most of Thursday, Dane and Ryan, looks pretty good. But it's the weekend where the showers return. Fox 56 News still has so much more to come. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back.
Mike, thank you. Prepared here at home. How would local hospitals handle hundreds of wounded people at one time? We find out coming up next. It's a hospital's worst nightmare. Hundreds of wounded victims with life-threatening injuries all arriving at one time. New at 10 tonight, Fox 56's Erin Dugan spoke with staff at Wilkes-Barre General Hospital today. She has more on their trauma preparedness following today's mass shooting.
It's a phrase often heard surrounding incidents of mass casualties. We never thought something like this would happen here, but the staff at Wilkes-Barre General Hospital knows tragedies can happen anywhere, anytime. Director of Security Chris Spangenberg, who has experience working with victims of 9/11, knows all too well the chaos that ensues after a horrible incident like the mass shooting in Las Vegas.
You're dealing with a lot of chaos, confusion, even for first responders that come on scene. So initially you have to have people that are in charge that can designate these teams on where to go and what their purpose is.
Cheryl McDonald-Sweet, Director of Trauma Services at Wilkes-Barre General Hospital, says that all hospitals should have a plan in place for how to deal with the chaos of a mass casualty incident.
Behind the scenes, we're going through training on a continual basis with emergency management processes, procedures, and that includes multiple entities, not just the hospitals, but the partnerships with EMS and the county emergency response system.
Staff here at Wilkes-Barre General Hospital tells us that if you ever find yourself in a situation of a mass casualty and you can help, the biggest thing you can learn how to do is to stop the bleed.
You can use something as simple as, you know, a belt, a stick. In Boston, they used purses. People used purses, and they tightened it up on an arm, and they just simply used a stick to twist it and turn. If it's a wound, again, in an abdomen or somewhere else, you get like a cloth or a shirt, the person you're wearing even, and you stuff it in.
In Luzerne County, Erin Dugan, Fox 56 News, first at 10.
Gail Malloy also gives demonstrations on life-saving techniques to local schools, groups, and organizations.
The Vegas shooting reminds us just how hard it is for police to secure what is known as soft targets, places like movie theaters, malls, and even outdoor events.
Is there any way to ensure your safety at large public gatherings? Fox 56's chief political correspondent Scott Thuman tonight with more.
Under attack and nowhere to go. Open-air venues like the Las Vegas concert meant no warning and few options once it began. The same goes for the Boston Marathon bombing or the Orlando nightclub attack. One thing in common, they're all considered soft targets. Colin Clark with the Rand Corporation has been studying these ultimate security challenges.
I'm still amazed that we haven't had more soft target attacks on shopping malls and concerts in this country.
But the number of soft targets essentially is countless versus the number of hard targets, isn't it?
It would be literally impossible to harden every soft target from terrorist attack.
Clark says when hard targets like the White House behind me here continue to get more secure, then soft targets become more attractive options for attackers.
Because the hard targets are then so difficult to attack that, people may make the calculation of, well, I'm never going to be able to do anything or I'll be stopped, so let me go target a shopping mall.
We pray for the day when evil is banished and the innocent are safe.
Meanwhile, clouds of concern will hang over everything from major marches on the mall to sporting events cross-country, with organizers and law enforcement wondering what other steps can be done to deter attacks. One who used to advise President Trump on security matters says the task falls on everyone.
I'm very dubious of 330 million people thinking that it's Uncle Sam's job to protect them when they're walking down the high street. It's local law enforcement. It's state law enforcement.
Scott Thuman, Fox 56 News, first at 10.
Ahead at 10:30, more than a month after Hurricane Harvey hit Texas, several Pennsylvania communities are helping residents in the Lone Star State get back on their feet. How you can still give too.
The deadliest mass shooting on American soil in modern-day history after a gunman opened fire on a country music festival in Las Vegas, Nevada.
Over the years, the United States has seen several deadly shootings, and they are on the rise. Fox 56's national correspondent Michelle Macaluso looks deeper into the FBI study from 2014.
The Las Vegas gunman sprayed bullets down from the 32nd floor of his hotel at the Mandalay Bay. Audio recording suggests the shooter used a military-style automatic weapon to kill so many.
When a shooter takes a vantage point from, 30 stories above, that kind of a massacre happens.
Since the 2007 Virginia Tech shooting, there have been 50 mass shootings in the United States. While that number has risen, FBI crime data showed 2014 had the lowest homicide rate in 50 years, with a steady decline in the homicide rate from the early 1990s up to recent years. The FBI defines a mass shooting as a single attack in a public place with 4 or more victims. The Las Vegas rampage is now the deadliest mass shooting in U.S. history, surpassing the 2016 Pulse nightclub shooting in Orlando. Connecticut Democratic Senator Blumenthal finds it all too familiar.
Nothing has been done since Newtown. The heartbreaking tragedy of Newtown prompted nothing. And this deadly shooting finally ought to awaken us.
Former Congresswoman Gabby Giffords came to Capitol Hill to express her frustration.
Public safety must be our top priority.
Senator Blumenthal believes access to non-recreational weapons and a lack of gun checks have made these shootings even more deadly.
Widespread access, regardless of mental condition, to these weapons of war means that our streets are unsafe.
Those fighting gun violence blame Congress for going in the wrong direction by talking about reducing the number of gun-free zones around schools and making it easier to buy gun silencers. On Capitol Hill, I'm Michelle Macaluso.
In the wake of today's events, another wave of debate is coming to the forefront: gun control.
Fox 56's Jade Jarvis live in the News Center tonight. And Jade, you spoke with those for and against stricter gun laws.
Yeah, that's right, Ryan. I spoke with people on both sides of the debate, one calling for more conversation and stricter laws, and another who says those laws might get in the way of law-abiding gun owners who want to defend themselves.
There's a time and place for a political debate, but now is the time to unite as a country.
Earlier today, White House Press Secretary Sarah Huckabee Sanders refused to answer questions about stricter gun laws after a shooter opened fire on thousands of country music festival goers on the Las Vegas Strip Sunday night. It's now the deadliest in modern-day U.S. history. Gun control activists say the time for discussion is now.
People can't get a pass on this anymore. They've been able to hide behind it for too long, behind those platitudes of, oh, it's too early, we have to, condolences, this is a time for thoughts and prayers, this is not the time for action. It is the time for action.
Shira Goodman is the executive director for Ceasefire PA, a statewide organization working to reduce gun violence. She says there are common sense measures legislators can take that don't infringe on the rights of law-abiding gun owners, but help keep them out of the wrong hands.
People up your way who want guns for hunting or for sportsmen or even for self-protection, they don't want to see this. They don't want to read about, people killed every day in the cities. They don't want to read about these suicides by people who have guns in their home. They don't want to read about these mass shootings.
Police have not yet said how the at least 17 guns found in the hotel room the shooter were purchased. A worker we spoke to at the cabin shooting range in Wilkes-Barre says stricter gun laws could make things more complicated.
Criminals, if they want a gun or a firearm, they're going to get one. More strict gun laws, they're kind of only going to inhibit and they're going to control law-abiding citizens from getting firearms. Criminals don't care about laws.
She says when faced with violence, people should have the ability to defend themselves.
Innocent, law-abiding citizens should have the right to level the playing field and be able to defend themselves. So I believe that is the common ground that everyone believes. Pretty much criminals shouldn't have it, but it's never going to happen.
In addition to the 17 guns found inside the shooter's hotel room, investigators say they've also found 18 more firearms, explosives, and several thousand rounds of ammunition in the shooter's home. Next Thursday, Representatives Boback, Coffer, and Toohill are expected to host a concealed carry seminar in Luzerne. Reporting live in the News Center, Jay Jarvis, Fox 56 News, first at 10.
From your Weather Authority, this is your Fox 56 News First Forecast.
Well, it certainly has been an interesting start to the month of October. It has been sunny, just beautiful out there. And we look at our satellite radar, really not much going on even right now. In fact, the clouds are quite minimal as well. We look at our current temperatures, and thanks to that lack of cloud cover, it's starting to feel a little nippy out there. 45 degrees in Hazleton, Mount Pocono, 40 degrees. With calm winds as well, we may also see some patchy frost developing overnight. That is, of course, if we see temperatures drop into the upper 40s. But all in all, it is going to be a quiet, calm, cool, or chilly, I should say, evening with more sunshine on tap for tomorrow. But the wet weather is coming back sooner rather than later. I'll show you when, coming up.
New at 10 tonight, the Poconos, Tobyhanna, and Tunkhannock townships have joined together to adopt the city of Pine Forest, Texas. That community was destroyed recently by Hurricane Harvey. Fox 56's Aaron Dugan tells us about what you can do to help.
Located just northeast of Houston, over 98% of the city of Pine Forest, Texas, was under 5 to 10 feet of water for nearly 2 weeks. Pine Forest and its municipal functions are currently operating out of the city administrator's own house, and the city is in desperate need of items to help rebuild offices. The idea of adopting a Texas government came from Kate Lambert, who works for the Tunkhannock Township Zoning Department.
I was at home watching all of the broadcasts of what was happening down there, and I realized the first place after everybody gets done cleaning up to rebuild, they go to their local municipality for permitting or see if they have anything on file for their homes and where their septic is and stuff like that. And I thought, what would we do and how could we help our residents? So I contacted John Jablonski and Jim Lambert from the Monroe County Waste Authority, and we started brainstorming on how we can help the local municipality down there.
It's very hard to function in a time of disaster when folks turn to the local government in order to help them out when you don't even have a paperclip.
Items needed range from things like new or gently used filing cabinets to office supplies like staplers and copy paper. Other items include desks, chairs, mold control products, grills, and charcoal.
People are still living literally in their front yards.
Both townships encourage residents and business owners interested in donating office supplies and other needed items to bring them to the Feed the Truck event from 12 to 4:30 this Saturday, October 7th, during the annual Fall Festival. In Monroe County, Aaron Dugan, Fox 56 News, first at 10.
And that fall festival is at Blanche D. Price Park in the village of Pocono Pines on Saturday. You can also drop off items at either Tobyhanna or Tunkhannock municipal buildings during normal business hours.
Next at 10, federal court. The suspected ringleader of the Benghazi attack faced a judge in Washington today. What charges he faces for the 2014 crime.